Oh, 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 good times. We're back. It's good. It's good. It's good. To have some submissions in the feedback loop. How y'all folks doing? Chris Courtney here, New Pragmatic. It's so good to be back after a long weekend. After a long weekend, we've got some submissions in the loop this morning, and last time we checked in, CouchBot was having a moment. CouchBot was having a moment. Let's just call it what it was, and so hopefully, I'm hopeful. And I haven't checked the channel on CouchBot, and they call it the Chitty Chat. Um, let's see here. Yeah, it looks like everything should be okay. It yeah, it does not appear like there's any problems with the bot today, so that's good to know. CouchBot is it's not an open source. It's a plugin that's in active development. So you know, we throw a couple of bucks into the community pool to keep that nice little bot running. But it definitely helps us out, making sure that everybody gets alerted when YouTube sends out its alert. So it's kind of like a Zapier thing. If you've used Zapier, where you connect one service on the internet to another, and bam, just like that, CouchBot has fired. So that's good news. That's good news. It means that the system is working as intended, and that we can get this underway. So without further ado, let's do that. Greetings, one and all. Chris Courtney here, New Pragmatic. It's time for the feedback loop. So good to be back with you after a relatively long weekend. But we've got people back in the loop this morning. We've got Luigi's back, Eve's back, Charlie's back, Backstreet's back. No, that's a song. That's a song from the '90s. Dismiss that. So what I'd like to do is go ahead and get this underway, because we might spend a minute going through some of these things. So right off the top, we've got Eve. Eve's got her. She has submitted her about page, and if you're wondering where all of this is coming from, why is all this writing coming up? Let's go over to New Pragmatic and go to the career course, if I could properly spell it. Let's go over here to the career mode, and right down here under about pages, this is where Eve's at. I encourage people to do a fair bit of writing up front, because I really believe content matters first. And so Eve just went through case study writing. She's going through the about pages. Next, she'll be creating the content for her homepage. And once we have all that stuff together, that's when we start designing. Because until you know what you're working with, it's very I gotta be honest with you, it's kind of like getting a cart before the horse. If you're drawing boxes and you're like, yeah, and some text will go here and an image will go there, like, what's the point? Like, just get the content. And that's what Eve is doing right now. So let's jump in here. Evelyn Turner, a people-focused designer, living in Greenville, South Carolina, with her husband and 2 cats. And by the way, we'll take a look at the cats in a minute. They are literal loaves of bread, which is funny because Eve bakes. So, hey, I'm Evelyn, pronounced like Evelyn, nickname Eve. Oh, there you go. Making people happy through architecture and interior design has been my jam for the past decade. My current journey is diversifying my skill set and spreading cheer in user experience and interface design. So how does architecture and interior design translate into UX and UI? A couple comes in with a vision for their dream home. They've been planning for years, scouring countless design blogs, websites, home magazines for inspiration. It's decided they want a white marble countertop for their kitchen island They love the look, and it perfectly fits their vision of a clean, modern kitchen. Great. All I have to do is pick a white marble for their approval, pick a white marble for their approval, and done, right? Well, the home has a fixed budget, and as we run the numbers, marble is out of the price range. They also have 2 young kids, and the kitchen will be the main gathering place for their active family. Coffee, soda, tomato juice, anything acidic leaves marks on marble. Quartz countertop then. It can look like a lot like white marbles. It's stain resistant, low maintenance, and fits the budget. The couple sees the quartz and the marble are alike side by side, but they still want real marble. It's their dream home. Surely the cons don't outweigh the pros. We could convince the couple with a live demo showing what happens when when a wine is spilled on marble versus quartz, or other areas where the cost may be scaled down to afford marble, so on and so forth, as we exhaust every reasonable option to uncover the best solution. Ultimately, it's trivial whether the couple picks white marble, quartz, or something completely different. What's most important is researching the possibilities, presenting the best options for the couple or the client, so they're making informed choices and are contently merry with their decisions. Contently merry? That's kind of a weird phrase. TLDR in architecture, interior design, UX, and UI, solving design problems is not usually straightforward. Design is a messy process. I lean on clear communication, teamwork, empathy, and a willingness to explore different solutions with all involved to help make the project succeed. When everybody's happy, it's time to celebrate, bust out the champagne, and eat cake. And then we've got some links, photos and links. So this is one of the houses that Eve has worked on. I'm guessing that's another one. I mean, Eve's worked on some pretty big projects. Anything that people live in, by the way, is a big project. In case you're wondering. Caption: through the collective efforts and cumulative hard work, we've turned these dream homes into reality. Cool. Why we should really work together, though. A Christmas portrait with our cats since 2014 was want to be delighted every year with photos of disgruntled kitties. I got you. And then obviously, I mean, we gotta like zoom in on these disgruntled kitties. I mean, oh, that is the saddest cat ever. That's ridiculous. Yeah, who when you have disgruntled kitty cats through the years, in your Christmas photos, I'm gonna want to see them. But that is the saddest cat I've ever seen in my life. Eve, I mean, come on, what is he doing to that cat? That cat is sad. I don't get the full loaf effect until I see these. Like that one, it's a loaf of bread with arms. Um, and it looks like it's grown through the years. Did you stuff this one this year? Is it like, anyway? I digress. But literally a loaf of bread with arms, and this is the stuff. This is the stuff that, and I bring this up, and Charlie can tell you firsthand, because Charlie, who's coming up later in today's feedback loop, he got this letter from a prospective employer, kind of talking about what they're looking for, and one of the things is like, it said we want to see a little bit of weirdness. We want to see a little bit of personality, basically. Weirdness is personality. It's just like, what's your quirk? This is your quirk, okay? You take these funny photos with cats, and I love it. I think it shows a lot of your personality. I also like it that it shows you, frankly, having fun. Okay, it shows that there is the possibility that does this person look like they'd be fun to work with? I think yes. I think I'd like to work with that person, and ultimately, I think that's a very positive thing to spin out there for people who are thinking about hiring you. So I totally I the Christmas portraits. Love it. All right. I enjoy baking. I always need taste testers. Always in need of taste testers for flavor trials and baking experiments. Any takers? That's great. Not a pandemic, Eve, but yeah, just keep it in there. While taking UX UI courses, I got to be a part-time baker at Bossy Bakers. I promise the bakers are friendly. If you're in Greenville, try their pies. I like that. I like that little bit of, I like that little bit of kind of. I'm gonna let you in on a tip. I'm also gonna be like nice to a former employer. I think that says a lot about that. Like one of my students right now is my old boss. Okay, that says that for me that means the world because it means that I was not a complete screw up when I worked for this person. Um, I like the fact that you are recommending, like, how many people that are reading this are going to be in Greenville? Virtually, virtually none, unless you've applied to a place in Greenville. But the point is, you're giving me a tip about a place that I haven't been. I'm probably going to want to stop by Bossy Bakers if I find myself anywhere within like an hour drive of Greenville now. And it just paints you as like not the crank that hates the last place they worked at. I like that. I like that little detail a lot. 3M mountain bike. Poorly. We can laugh about it together. And now we have the sequence of shots where Eve basically looks like you've fallen over on. Is that steps? Is that a trail? Yeah, you're not doing great there. Okay, let's chat and make great things happen. Overall, I love the funnies that kind of feel like they're at the end. Um, I like the way that you wove together this this concept that y- what I did before was very much UX work. Okay, um, so what I want to think about is like this intro, making making people happy through architecture and design has been my jam for the past decade. Um, while while my current adventure, um, while my current adventure involves, while my current adventure, okay, so how can we do this? We need right now. This is like two ideas that are just kind of setting next to one another, and I want them to interact with one another so that they introduce the question. That follows. The part where you say, so how does architecture and interior design translate to UX and UI? Um, Making people happy through architecture and interior design has been uh, my jam for the past decade. My current my current journey, on my current journey, I'm diversifying my skill set and now spreading cheer through user experience, through developing superior user experiences and elegant interface design. So I think the like the idea is that you're now growing in a new direction, and it kind of says that. It, it kind of says that, but I'm trying to get that to do a little bit more. I'm trying to get that to gel together a little bit more. Um, I like the story here. Um, a couple comes in, they and then they want the white marble. I would like to kind of talk about. I would like to talk about the process and kind of sprinkle in some terminology along the way. A couple comes in with their dream homes. They've been planning it for years. They've got all this inspiration. It's decided. They love the look. Great. All I my, you know, and you could even say a stakeholder, a couple, um, a couple comes in with the vision of their dream home. These stakeholders have been planning for years. So what I'm trying to do is get that UX terminology in there so that like we see stakeholder, all right, and we're thinking, okay, this, stakeholders, stakeholders as they come through, they they come through with these ideas and they have things that they want. Then you know as we go through, we could say fixed budget, run the numbers, marbles out of the price range. They also have in they also have two young kids. Um, in researching in my research on the couple, I find out that they have two young kids in the kitchen. Through further research, it's discovered they have two young kids, and the kitchen will be the main place. So now we're sneaking in research into the mix, right here in the second paragraph, like right through here. Okay, a quartz countertop. Then, so here you could say a superior a quality option would be a quartz countertop. Then it can look like marble. So you're getting this idea of you're injecting an option into the mix. The couple sees the white that they still want the marble. It's their dream home. Surely the cons won't outweigh the pros. We could convince the couple. We could convince the couple with a live demo, but instead of saying live demo, maybe we could say a product test, or we could perform a user test showing what happens when. And again, it's that idea that I'm going to take the terminology of UX and say the same thing you're saying right now, but I want to sprinkle it in so that it's showing the point that you're getting to. And right now, you're definitely getting to it. Okay, you're talking about UX. I see it as UX, but I think the way to make it really land for somebody who's not working with you through this is to sprinkle in those terms that they're used to associating with user experience design. And I think if you can do that, I think this elevates significantly. So I'm a big fan. I like it. I want this to do a little more to be a little more cohesive, and then I want to see UX terminology used through that here and there, not overwhelming, just finding a spot in each paragraph that allows when you get to that TLDR, it's like, yeah, they're right. Okay, and yes, I cannot snap. That's the most I can do. I don't have the ability to really snap my fingers. I don't know why. I think it's I think my DNA is broken, is what I'm saying. So I like it. Otherwise, let's move forward. We've got Charlie. We're gonna come over here to Charlie, and what I know, what is somehow you were connected with David Gideon, who I believe I went to high school with. I think that would be weird, Charlie. But I digress. I'm here to look at Charlie's LinkedIn, and obviously you've got your about in here. I'm a UX designer who balances research and intuition to enhance the lives of users. In my 7 years of experience as a technology educator, I've seen the power of positive design elements. It is my ongoing goal to improve experiences through the use of thoughtful and well-researched. I think well-researched needs a hyphen. Through thoughtful and well-researched design. I like the about overall. I think it's pretty strong. I love the fact that you get in here, my 7 years experience. In my 7 years experience as a technology educator, is it in my 7 years of experience? Yeah, I don't know. I have seen the power of the positive design elements. I think it's pretty strong. I like the featured section. Okay. And when I click on this, one of the things that I absolutely love is the fact that it brings us over into this viewer, and the fact that you know how to use this. Sorry. What is going on with my oh, I can't edit it. That's right. Okay. Well, the point I was getting at here is, and I can edit here over on Luigi's, is you can come down here and you know how to use set as thumbnail. I was, when I zoom out of this, because remember you put people over here into it. What I was confused by was I saw Matt's version, and then I saw Amanda's version, and I don't know who Matt or Amanda are. So that might be worth explaining, putting in like a about this document like next to this or something, so that we kind of know what's going on when we get here, because otherwise it's like, I can't really see the prototype. What I would like to see, to be completely honest with you, is the click through, when you put it in prototype mode, and this is Luigi's prototype mode. When you put it in prototype mode and you share the prototype, I think it's a little easier for people to understand what to do. It's like, oh, I click through this and it shows me a prototype. Right now you're showing a bunch of screens, and that's okay. I mean, let's put it this way: if you don't have the prototype, I think it's fine to show the screens. But if you have the prototype, I think that might be. You might even put them both up there. So like, you could say, UI design, and then let's come back over here to LinkedIn. You could say iOS Hi-Fi, which is what it says. But if you had another one, you could say design reads prototype, for instance. And I think that would be very effective. I do think that I would like to see you. Right now this is busy bus wireframes, and it just kind of takes you into the wireframes. I really believe I don't believe this one's helping you at all. It like this back arrow, it's just, this one's not going to help you. I'd probably pull this one out. I would come back to the top spin, and okay, so this is designed in Adobe XD. That's interesting. I'm not sure if Adobe XD has an export or a way to share the way that Figma does. I would love it if it did, to be completely honest with you, because I just am absolutely enamored with the fact that you can drop a Figma project into LinkedIn and you can get access to it in 2 seconds. But I do believe that if you were to keep something like Topspin, which I got to be honest with you, until I read a little closer, I didn't realize it was an XD project. I would like to see some sort of cover on it, like you have with this Figma design reads. And you may be asking yourself, Charlie, you're like, oh wait, Chris, you said you didn't like the slanted dressed up thing in the portfolio, but you like it here? And the answer is, yeah, I do. You know why? Because LinkedIn is utterly boring. And I think that having that little preview kind of dresses up the feed. Okay, it says, "Ooh, what's this?" In the way that being giant on your portfolio was just kind of overwhelming. Here, it's right sized. So I think that it's like doing good work here, where in the other it's like, this is not great. Um, so I like that. I would like to see that on these others if possible, and I would I would link to the hi-fis and I would make two. I would have hi-fi and prototype, and then I would ditch Busy Bus down here, just because it's the UX. Like when I'm looking at the interface, like I see interface elements that aren't where they're supposed to be, and I'm like immediately that's like a detractor. So I'd get it out of there. Okay. Um, as we come down, I see. So here's something that's interesting, and of course, you've got the block thing down here, and I'm not here to hate on my former employers too much. I have happy memories with the people that were there before that other company bought it. Um, what I do like is I like the fact that you've gone through and documented like what you learned. That's good. What I don't like is the fact that when I look at your experience, I don't have any of those similar like paragraphs of information that tells me what you did here. Chelsea had a similar situation where her LinkedIn had all of her positions but said nothing about what she did in those positions. And I don't know what you did as an education technician or a technology integrator or a designer at school group. I don't know. So once we go through and we give each of these a paragraph, your LinkedIn is going to feel so much more robust. And I think this is really the area that I'd spend the I'd spend take an hour today, take 2 hours, take however much time you need to write. You don't have to write a book here, but I do understand like how do I write about my social media specialist experience from 2009 to 2011. How do I write about that now in 2020? It might take a little work to kind of to like reach back to that moment and pull it up, but I think there's something that you should be able to write for all of these. And even the broadband technical support, I think that it all positions you as somebody who is technically proficient. Okay, so I want a paragraph with each of these, and really from there, let's take another look at this. Otherwise, do a little. Also, by the way, people are often wondering about this. I love seeing really. I love seeing activity on LinkedIn, and I think it's because it shows up on your feed, like it shows up on your LinkedIn page. I think it's really encouraging to keep it super positive and like, go, yeah, this is great. I've seen the uptick and all that. Um, so so it encourages you to go out and have that activity, have that have that communication with the community, and I would encourage you to continue doing that, continue on a daily basis, so that this is always populated. And then yeah, I think otherwise it's fine. My big thing is like nix that. Let's get the prototype version of this in here, and then down here, let's get some details. And your details, I got to be honest with you, they may already be in here. I'm just going to take a look at. Well, maybe I was. Maybe I should just zoom in. Yeah, a lot of that is in here. Um, and well, some of it. I see school group. I don't see Blockhouse. Like why is Blockhouse here in school group? So really, what I'd like to see I think Blockhouse needs to work their way into this as well. Okay, so let's make that a 1-to-1 with the resume. Obviously, you're going to have some more to write on these others, but let's get this fleshed out. Okay. All right. Let's head on over to Luigi. Luigi has his. He's got. Oh wow! Holy crap! Fresh market update. This is great because Luigi has been. Luigi, by the way, congratulations. Got the secured. Luigi's been fighting through the headwinds of COVID, based there in New York. Um, he's been slowly but surely clawing his way back into the ranks of the employed because he directly impacted by COVID. His company like basically shut down, just like a lot of people did, and Luigi landed his well, basically, I can't really say he landed his first because his old company called him back and said, "Hey, can you do some stuff with us?" So Luigi, first of all, credit there for being cool enough that your old company was like, "Hey, by the way, we're kind of doing some stuff again. Can you come help?" That typically is a point where if a company is going to shake you free, like one of those events, that's when it happens. But the fact that they like reached out and said, "Hey, we'd like you to come help us out again," that's a feather in your cap. But Luigi's also in the fight of finding new places, which he's done successfully. He's had to kind of put Fresh Market off to the side. The good news here is he's back to Fresh Market now. So let's take a look at the components Luigi's put together here. And I want to, anytime we talk about components, I want to, you'll see them show up in the assets, but I want to talk about them in concert as we look at the pages themselves. Okay, and let's see, is it? Nope, it's not 3. It's definitely not 4. Sorry about that. Oh, that's weird. What is that? Oh, it's a shopping cart icon. Okay, so that's interesting. Is that part of the prototype? No. Oh, maybe. Oh no, it's not part of it. I was wondering if he was using that as a modal or a hover or something. Okay, so right now he's got a nav. He's got this main section, but he's not going to use that a lot. Or maybe he will. Maybe he will. I haven't looked at the whole thing yet. I do love that font. Gosh, what font is that? Mackinac Pro. That's a nice font. Like the icons, this is a 3-column design, 2-column. It's kind of the same, but without the box. A footer, like those are things that you're going to need, and you can kind of see like he's clearly already made these into elements. These sort of designs are also going to be something that you're going to want to make components out of as you get to them. These cards are something you're going to want to make components out of as you get to them. So, just kind of trying to take into account like where we're at in the component construction here. As we look over here in components, you can see that he has 3 different types of navigation. He has navigation with a cart, navigation logged in, but so cart item is just saying that there's something in the cart. Logged in is saying, okay, so you've got the icon and then the cart, but nothing's in the cart yet. And then navigation just plain is you haven't logged in yet. I like all of that. I like the fact that you've got them all packaged together under navigation. This is very much part of the process of organizing your file. So that when you switch instances, it's really easy to do. And what I mean by that, for anybody who's not completely familiar, is right here you have navigation. Okay? If you come over here to the instance, he can switch really quickly to navigation logged in, or navigation card item, or navigation. And that makes it super easy when you're designing these new pages as you go, and you need a different instance of the same shape. It's right there. The same thing is going to happen here. The same thing is going to happen here. So I'm pleasant. It's pleasant to see that this is already kind of developing along developing in the right way. So you've got this hero, and the hero it looks like it's the whole thing. And I'm guessing that, yeah, it seems okay. So these are individuals, and you're dragging them over, and that's fine. You probably don't have to create hero units out of these, because you're only using them once. I think it's fine that you have. I'm more interested in these elements that we're using over and over and over again. This is where we should be spending a significant amount of your time. Additionally, like, I'm glad to see that the footer has gotten the footer's right here. Where is the footer? Oh yeah, it's over here. So I'm glad to see the footers there. Also, you've got a 3-column feature. I'm not sure if you have any sort of like 4-column designs or other designs throughout the later portions of this, but actually I do know you do have a 4-column design here. The one thing I would say is that it seems like your underlying grid is not really being utilized, at least on this menu page. And this is where I would create another grid. I mean, you've got a 12-column grid here, but that doesn't mean that has to be the only grid that you have. I would create a grid that's going to allow these to snap into place, because I say this, this is going to be pretty hard to place, like exact as you're dragging these in. I'm not even completely sure why the shape. Oh, okay. All right. I see why the shape is doing that now. Yeah, this auto layout is not working for you too well right now. This is where you don't need any to the side, but you need it to the top and bottom. And like, let's do it here too. Now, it's already here because the frame was created before, and it's like now you gotta kind of do that weird little dance trying to get it to actually it's like this. So now that's in there, and you can see the shape is much more streamlined, without having this weird little like pocket over here. But that's the trick of auto layout, is that you have to be thinking ahead of how it's going to be used. Otherwise, you get into these weird little shapes, and these are really hard to place. It's even harder to place, though, when you do not have a column structure that really aligns with the actual design. And what I mean by that, Luigi, is as I come through, I'm just going to turn that one off, and I'm going to make a new grid, okay? And this is going to be columns, and it's going to be 12, okay? And we're going to say 100 on the sides. Great. Now I'm going to go with gutter, and I'm going to say 30. Let's go 50. And what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get that gutter between to allow it to really line up with what you've got. And 70. Now we're starting to get in there. Stretch. But you can see it's like 66, 67, somewhere in there. But now with that created, like you can then place these shapes really easily, where before you couldn't, because that you didn't really have a structure that would allow for it. You could also just come through, if this seems weird, there's no reason to say 12 when you could say 4. Okay? And this feels much easier to kind of see what the hell's going on. So I would, anytime you find yourself in that situation, just create a new grid and like save it. I didn't save this one, but I'll leave it here so you can do with it what you want. But just know that you can use more than one grid through the project. Okay. But I really do like the way that you've gotten started here with components. Also, you've got the buttons, and I didn't really pay much attention there. Love that color palette. It's very, frankly, it's very new Pragmatic. I like it. I like that gold though. I've got like almost like a Green Bay Packer yellow. I like your it's just got a tinge of orange in it. Just feels really vibrant. I really like that yellow a lot. But great organization over here. You're starting down the right path. Let's focus on these two. These are the two that are going to do the heavy lifting, and I'm going to put a pin in that because I know over here you're going to need to really put some work in on forms. Okay, so if you go back and watch any of the feedback loops where Eve was working through hers, it took Eve a good couple of weeks. She was churning too, to work through this. But now that you're underway, Luigi, I would say that getting a submission in here every day, every other day for the next few weeks, that's what's going to get this over the finish line. You've got a great start here. Let's keep it going. Okay? All right. Ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for today's edition of the Feedback Loop. I hope it was helpful for you. It's always helpful for me. I love seeing the great work that students here at New Pragmatic are doing, regardless of where you're at. Some of you, Luigi, working through like the nitty-gritty of a project. Some of you preparing your portfolio, Eve. Some of you out there on the job search actively and trying to improve the online documentation. I mean, really, LinkedIn is basically, it's like the online persona that, everybody's got one. Everybody's got one. So, before somebody even goes and looks for your portfolio, they're looking at your LinkedIn. So it's really key to have that story presented there so that everybody can kind of understand where you're at. So I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I will see all of you again tomorrow on Wednesday. Take care, everybody.